And the Oscar goes to... Here we go. This is Godzilla.
Godzilla Minus One is the perfect example to a film that 100% deserved the Oscar that it won. So let's talk about what the movie's process was into winning the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on push notifications to stay updated on all my content, but let's get into the video. Godzilla Minus One came out in 2023 and is one of the best Godzilla movies of all time. Personally, I think it is the best Godzilla movie of all time. It's just stunning from start to finish. The visual effects, the cinematography, the story, it's also just amazing. And honestly, really does make all of the new Godzilla movies that Hollywood produces just look so bad in comparison. I mean, just everything about the movies just looks so bad in comparison to Godzilla Minus One. And if you were curious, there actually is a black and white version of Godzilla Minus One called Godzilla Minus One Minus Color that you can watch on Netflix. I just rewatched it in black and white, and oh my gosh, it is so cool. It's just one of those movies that you are just in awe of the visual effects. Like there are a lot of movies that have like great visual effects and a lot of visual effects, but they don't always make you just go like, wow, like people worked on this. But when I watch this movie, I'm always just like, I know that people worked on this, and it is so cool what they were able to do with the little amount of, like people that they had, with the little amount of budget. It's so awesome, and we're going to talk a lot about that in this video. So first off, the movie ended up making $116 million on a $10 to $15 million budget. That is a very, very, very good payday, and it 100% deserved even more than that, but that is great. A lot of those movies don't really see the light of day at the theaters in like the United States, so the fact that they got to get pushed into the theaters is amazing, and the fact that it made that much money is awesome. And there's actually a sequel coming down in the future. But let's talk about the process that went into the visual effects for it to end up winning the visual effects Oscars at the 2024 Oscars. So let me remind you, this movie was up against The Creator, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Napoleon, and Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Now, I didn't see Napoleon because I've heard bad things about it, but from the trailer alone, I saw that there were some pretty great visual effects. And I've seen the other ones, and they all have really, really, really good visual effects. But the fact that Godzilla won over them says a lot. And it's so amazing because actually, Godzilla Minus One, they actually didn't even submit this until the very last second. They submitted it right at the deadline, and it still won. And what's crazy is that this movie only had a team of 35 artists that did 610 visual effects shots. That's incredible. And what's awesome is that the director, Takashi Yamazaki, loves the sound of water. So 100 of those visual effects shots went into water. And I mean, a lot of the movie takes place like in the ocean, so it makes sense that a lot of the visual effects shots went into that. But it's such a cute reason. Like, his reasoning is just because he, as a kid, he just loved the sounds of water, and he just wanted to incorporate that into his story. And that just, I don't know, that just makes it so much more personal. Like, this is his story. And not only did he write and direct this movie, he was also, he has a lot of history in the visual effects chair. He had a job as a visual effects artist. So he actually worked alongside his visual effects team when doing the visual effects for this movie. And the way they divided teams of the 35 artists that were doing the 610 visual effects shots was really cool. They didn't just evenly distribute, like, like whatever, 7 teams of 5. They didn't do that. They just took whatever visual effects shot they needed, and then some groups had to do 3 times the work that they would normally do, and some would have to do less. For example, 5 of the artists worked solely on water effects. Let me put that into a perspective. That means that all the water shots that were in this movie were done by 5 people. 5 people. Let me put this into a different perspective. Godzilla Minus One had 35, as stated. 35 artists working on that film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had 1,300 people working on that film. And although that movie still looked fantastic, still looked amazing, Godzilla Minus One just has that authenticity to it. There's 35 people working on it, and they somehow pulled off some of the best visual effects shots that we've seen in any Godzilla movie. And yes, I think Godzilla Minus One has better visual effects than the new Godzilla movies. Hate me if you want, because the Godzilla versus Kong movies have really nice colors and an insane amount of destruction. It doesn't look real to me. This movie is scary, and it really reminds me of the early 50s Godzilla movies, and the practical effects that they use when they do the building explosions. This one just feels so authentic. Godzilla Minus One is something to really praise. It's a masterpiece. But let's talk about what's so amazing about Godzilla Minus One, not only getting nominated, but winning the Best Visual Effects Oscar. Not only is Godzilla Minus One the first Godzilla movie out of the entire 70-year-long franchise to get nominated for an Oscar, it won an Oscar, but also it is the first Japanese movie to be nominated for Best Visual Effects and winning Best Visual Effects. That is very, very cool. And honestly, you can only just feel so much happiness for them. They put so much work into this movie. It turned out fantastic. It's just a beautiful film from start to finish, and they won that Oscar. That's awesome. And their reactions to winning the Oscar is how everyone should react when winning an Oscar, because it's a big deal. I mean, it's like a huge honor, and it's awesome. And like I stated before, they're just so cute. The people that worked on this movie are so cute. At the Oscars, they brought the miniature versions of Godzilla to the Oscars. And when they were taking the photos after the ceremony and with their Oscar, they just had the Godzilla designs in their hands. It just warms your heart. Anyways, Godzilla Minus One is without question a masterpiece. I love this movie so much. On a rewatch, it's just an incredible experience. I'm so glad that I did go see this movie in theaters originally in IMAX, and it is just stunning. And I've seen it in both the colorized and decolorized versions. And honestly, I think that the decolorized version might be the better way of watching it. It feels like you're going back in time to the classic Godzilla movies, and instead of them being just cheesy with people in costumes, you're watching this insanely behemoth, visual effects driven Godzilla movie, and it's in black and white, and everything is just so well defined, and it's just such a beautiful thing to watch. So if you haven't watched this movie already, I highly recommend watching it. I mean, for anyone who's in visual effects school, definitely watch this movie if you haven't, because it's one that you really should study. It's incredible what they were able to do to make this movie look the way that it looks, because it looks fantastic. But anyways, that brings you to the end of the video. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on push notifications to stay updated on all my content. I appreciate every single one of you. But remember, your movie moment is right around the corner. See you in the next video.